Go. Oh, I'm sorry. Fortunately, I'm getting the hand signals, but they're not sinking in. Welcome. Oh, I'm not supposed to go Greek. Okay, welcome to Woman Gathering in our Front Royal Women's Resource Center, June Woman Gathering. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have my new neighbor, Susan, here.
Thank you.
Welcome, Susan.
Thank you.
Susan moved into our area recently, and when I found out what she did, I was like, oh, I've got to learn more about it. I don't even know what you call it, but it's an amazing thing.
Thank you.
So what do you tell us, what do you do?
Okay, so now an aerialist is basically the way we sum it up. It's can be called aerial dancing. Most people recognize it when they see the Cirque du Soleil shows. The people climbing the fabric, or being on a lyre or a hoop, climbing rope, doing those acrobatics in the air. Usually, generally, it's what people are exposed to it is through Cirque du Soleil or things like that.
Yeah, well, and I've seen them not just at Cirque du Soleil, but on TV too. Mm-hmm. And don't some people do this like for conditioning, almost like aerial yoga or something?
Yep. Aerial yoga actually was formed in tandem with the aerial acrobatics, because what was happening to aerialists is that we were building, so much strength so quickly that we weren't getting what people like to say the yin and the yang. You were building strength, but you weren't getting the flexibility. And so aerial yoga came out of it to kind of get that nice balance between the push and the pull and the stretch of all of those muscles.
Mm-hmm. So you do this thing where we see these people that are hanging and they flip upside down and they turn around and they unfold, and you do that.
I do that. It's funny because I actually got started doing it. We were living in England. My husband's retiring out of the U.S. Army, and we were living in England. And at the time, I had left my jobs here in the U.S. and I hadn't applied for a working visa. So I was basically floating around, eating fish and chips and going to the pub. And I was 25 pounds heavier. People never believe me when I tell them this, but I had zero flexibility. I couldn't reach past my shins. It wasn't there, and I thought to myself, I was 43, and I just thought, oh, this is just the natural age progression. And I was stiffening up and just getting unhealthy, and I kind of stumbled upon it. A friend says to me, well, first class is free. Why don't you just go ahead and come along? I thought, well, free, I have nothing to lose. Yeah, hooked. The first time I flipped upside down and hung by my hips upside down, and I felt my spine decompress, I was hooked. It was hard, it's challenging, but it is the one physical, athletic thing I have done the longest that I still am motivated to keep trying and meeting all these new challenges. It's like the minute you learn a skill, you want to learn the next one. And I mean, there's so many times, you get on a treadmill and you run, you're like, oh my God, all right, turn the channel, this is boring. But with this activity, I have yet to find the limit of my interest in it. I absolutely have been taken by it, and I was always the oldest girl in the room. And when I started, there was mostly, these 20-somethings in the room, and here I am, the old lady.
And you said you're 43?
I was 43 when I started. Actually, I'll be turning 46 next Friday.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And being the oldest lady in the room, your ego takes a little bit of a hit at first, but then the coolest thing happens is your humility steps in, and it's almost like you find yourself again. You're like, you're re-energized, and now you're doing it for you and not what it appears for on the outside.
Mm-hmm. So you did it as a class. You went and you trained, and were they like an hour class a few times a week?
It was. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Those girls, I absolutely love them. For all intents and purposes, I essentially moved into that studio and took as many classes as I could, and I would walk out of there completely and utterly exhausted. But I just loved it. And then I got my first set of silks and hung them from the tree in the back garden, and started practicing when I wasn't going to the classes. Then when we returned here to the U.S., I started training in D.C. At a particular gym, and that gym offered me a job to be an instructor, and I started instructing there I had over 500 hours of instruction at that place when my friend had opened up a studio, Minorca in Flight, which is now the group in the studio that I'm with, that I perform with. And I've transitioned over to Minorca, and right now I only kind of teach fabric because I'm taking this year off for me, but I pop in on Fridays and teach flexibility classes on Fridays with them.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Of course, I wonder if you'll ever teach something out here.
I would love to. I would absolutely, in all sincerity. It is, how do I explain it? It doesn't grab everybody, but when it does grab you, with any activity though, you're just so motivated. I have the most fun teaching this because I get to remind everybody of the 9-year-olds we all once were when we're at the playground and you go upside down and it's like you forget that you could do that. You resign yourself to a certain age or a certain number, or I can't touch my toes anymore. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, I'm not done yet. And that's exactly what has happened. I mean, first time in my life I can do a front split, and I couldn't do those when I was 9. So I would love to do that.
And that's like when your legs are each going in a different direction, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
So I love reminding people, absolutely, the 9-year-olds they were.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
And I've actually heard that muscles don't age. Like, I don't know if anybody ever saw that woman that started muscle building in her late 70s and ended up winning competitions. And so apparently there is something about your muscles that they don't age like my skin has or things like that. You can always build them.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
And it's amazing when you start how quickly it comes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Strength, it seems like strength is quick to build. The flexibility is the one that you have to take the time to definitely work on. Flexibility takes a little bit longer, but you can do it. And getting the range of motion back into your body, it actually bounces across your entire everything you do every single day.
I believe it.
And this is the one absolute thing that I love performing. I love getting up and dancing in the air. I love doing drops and tricks and being upside down like a crazy woman. But I think it's the flexibility of being able to move again, especially after having 3 children, and gaining that movement across my hips again. I absolutely, it's invaluable to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does it feel like when you do it? What does it feel like when you're flipping? And does it look as free? Do you feel as free as it looks?
It's actually the greatest compliment you could ever give an aerialist is when you tell them that it looks easy. When you get up there, though, it's just once you build your strength and once you understand what your skills are, and you get up there and you turn the music on, it's no different than dancing in your kitchen, because it just the muscle memory kicks in, and it's just it's just like you're tootling around, cooking dinner with the radio on, because you just start getting into the beats and the movement, and it just all kind of goes together.
It's kind of not, though. Not really.
It doesn't feel like that at first, but you do get
Dances
to that point.
with knives. I don't think so, yeah.
Although I do have circus friends who do that, so.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So now do you consider yourself part of the circus?
Kind of. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I had to grow up to run away with the circus. Kind of. I have that's the one neat thing I did not know that I would getting into this was this circus family. Truly, the minute that you find someone else who does this, even people who just juggle, the minute they find out your circus, it's like it opens up the store and you've got this circus family, and they act as if they've known you forever. And usually someone who knows someone that knows them, then it leaks back. So it's kind of this neat little circus family.
I bet nobody here knows somebody that does this,
circus
right?
or juggling.
Until now. I've never heard of that. I've never met anyone, so yeah. So I bet it's like a sister, like a family in a way.
It is, yeah.
Like an extended family.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
It is really neat. It's really, especially, being a military family, and we've always been transient. And so, we would plant temporary roots in one location and then move to another and then pick up and go. And so to actually, find that circus family that I had in England, and then when I came over here, it carried over. Everybody kind of knew the ladies that I had trained with over there. And so that was really the first time I'd ever experienced essentially the feeling of like a community until I got here to FRWRC. And so that was a piece that was missing in our military lifestyle.
Interesting. Well, we know that they're not hanging from silks upstairs because they're banging and jumping and leaping, and that's okay. So I'm curious, like, how many of you are there?
It is surprising to find out when I first started this, I thought it was just a small little studio. Once you get plugged into that community, you realize that there are a lot of people who do this, and there are a lot of people who do it for so many different reasons. You've got the pro track, the people who are in the Cirque du Soleils and the major shows. You've got the instructors who are out there. You've got the hobbyists. People do it for so many different reasons. It's just like having a local studio, your local dance studio, and they're popping up more and more because people are starting to realize the benefits of actually going upside down and gaining that flexibility, getting your spine back into traction. Those simple things, people are realizing, this is a lot. It's a lot of fun as far as fitness, because when you're doing it, you don't realize, oh my gosh, an hour's passed by and I did all this physical exercise. It's just fun, and so it's gaining more and more popularity. How many are there? Oh my gosh, it's incredible, the numbers, and it's all the way around the globe.
Okay. And do you consider yourself separate from the people that do it as a yoga thing because you're more of a performer, or is that also part of the?
It's all a part of it. It's kind of odd. Some people will start from the circus side and take the yoga class, and then sometimes the yogis will start and find the aerial, and so it's like we meet in the middle. Okay. And we can all kind of sprek in the same language, Right. So it's once someone says they go aerial, though, it's Is that what you do? You go aerial.
You go aerial. Yeah. Would anybody like to ask Susan any questions?
Just today, which family is it? The husband walked across the Niagara Falls on a tightrope, and the wife just hung from a helicopter and did acrobatics with a hoop from her holding on with her teeth and her toes. And I just thought, that seems like such risk taking. But hearing you talk, I can see how it's just another level of challenging your body, maybe.
It is.
To do things. Do you feel like you have that compulsion?
The funny thing is when I started this, actually I have a fear of heights, and people look at me because I don't have a problem climbing up the fabric or getting on the lyra. Excuse me. In doing that, and I'll drop on purpose. Don't ask me to climb a ladder, though, because there's something in my brain that clicks, and I have a fear of heights. But in doing this, and I think that was probably another reason why I was so compelled, to do this, was it helped me kind of I don't want to say, but beat that monster, that fear of heights monster, so that I was no longer, I don't know, how do I say it, just a victim of it. I was literally afraid of heights, and I didn't develop a fear of heights until I had children. And I can still remember the day clearly of being on a Ferris wheel, and actually we're at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And I was sitting there, and my middle daughter was sitting next to me, and my mother-in-law was on the other side, and then my other daughter was in the seat in front of us, and it whoosh, anxiety rushed over me, and from that moment on I was terrified of heights. But doing aerial and climbing the fabric and going 22 feet on my own strength, it's empowering, and it really helped me kind of beat that monster, that dragon of that fear of heights. So yeah, I can see why they go out on the tightrope. You train a lot to do those kinds of things, but once you got it, and you're not afraid anymore. The best quote I ever saw was that a bird is never doesn't have a fear of falling because it's not afraid of the branch breaking because it trusts its own wings. It's kind of like that. That's how it feels. I probably garbled that, but I think the gist got out.
Yeah.
I've heard
that some people going upside down can get real dizzy and very nauseous.
That's right.
Does that get rectified? Can this actually heal that, or do people have to do other things to correct that to be able to do what you do?
It all depends on if there's an underlying issue, but usually, typically over time, conditioning is what we call it. You can condition yourself to go upside down and then come back. Lots of times people have like a middle ear issue and it'll make them really, really dizzy and nauseous. Some people have a blood pressure issue, and that will help or will not help that. But over time, going through those motions will absolutely help most people get over it. I actually, when I started, there's this little piece of rigging that goes at the top, and it's called a swivel, and it allows you to spin. When I started this, I wasn't raised on a swivel. So when I came to the U.S., and all the aerialists in the U.S. love to spin. They love to spin. I have to condition spinning still to this day because it's a bit much to be able to spin, keep your wits about you, and then think, okay, I have to move into this position. And meanwhile, you're feeling the forces moving you, but you've got to get that arm over here, but you really kind of just want to do one of these to get over there. So yeah, you can condition all of those types of things. And typically, like I said, if there isn't an underlying health condition, you usually can get through it and get over it just by kind of just doing it again and again and again. It's kind of crazy what your body will get used to. I mean, I used to joke, actually, to add on to that, I used to joke about when I teach aerial that we do these things called footlocks, where we actually take the fabric and we kind of tie it, and it looks like a figure 8 on your foot. And when you first put it on, it squeezes your feet, and it feels really weird because, we're not used to this squeezing this way on your foot. And I would say to them, well, you'll get used to it, and you'll be amazed at what you get used to. For the first month or so, whenever you start doing any of this, you're going to go through what's called like a bruise stage. You're going to get these funky bruises, and it looks like someone's pinching you, and then all of a sudden it's like either your body just says, oh, she's not listening to me anyway, and just quits, or the body truly conditions, and all of a sudden it's like a switch, and you stop bruising.
It's fascinating. Wow.
It's crazy. So yeah, you can condition the craziest stuff. You're welcome.
I have a comment. If any young people are watching or wondering what it is exactly that you did, Pink is one of the artists that I can think of that everybody knows her videos. She even did, I think, one of the music awards. I forget what song it was, but she came spinning down and even had the water going, and so you're like Pink.
Doesn't Pink do that? Doesn't Pink do some of those?
Yep. Yeah, she does. Well, Pink, the apparatus that Pink is on is a sling. It's when you take the fabric and you rig it in a contiguous loop. So it's as opposed to just the two pieces of split fabric, it is just one single loop. And usually, whenever someone's starting off on doing any of this aerial, even aerial yoga, they'll use the sling, which is a single point, or they'll use a hammock where it's shaped like a U. And both of those are great as your first try to get upside down. It'll help you learn to figure out which muscles you have to use when you're going upside, because you do have to use muscles when you go upside down. You have to engage your core and your tummy to basically think about protecting your spine. But once you're upside down, you can let it go and you can feel your whole spine go clink, 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 and straighten out. So, yeah.
Can you show us? I see you brought some props. Can you show us?
I didn't know if anybody had ever, seen or touched the fabric. A lot of people call it silks.
No, I think I can safely say no,
no.
right?
So a lot of people know the art form as either tissue or silk. But what it is, there's two different types of fabric that are used within the U.S. And it's actually called a tricot blend. And so you guys can feel it and take a feel on what this stuff actually feels. This is a sling. Please feel free to pass it around. And I won't make you pass a larger one around. You feel how smooth and how slippery it is. Yeah.
Well,
You sure?
No,
I don't know.
She's good.
And that one is actually rigged as a sling. You can see the single point. This one right here is also a tricot blend, and this is what actual silk split fabric is. Here, I'll just kind of walk this out so you guys can get it.
Can I hold one end?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you'd like to hold that in. It's just so you guys can get an understanding of how much fabric is here. This particular this is 15 yards. It is all one, and up at the other end where Eka's holding is what we call a rescue aid, and we rig it into like mountain climbers will use a rescue aid as a descender for basically rescuing people. But we found this neat little way to put that fabric in there. So this is 15 yards of medium stretch tricot that we climb on. And this particular set is pretty ideal for anywhere between a 15-foot high ceiling to an 18-foot high ceiling.
So who hooks it to the ceiling for you?
I do. I actually know how to rig. The cool thing is I'm married to an engineer. But if you ever considered like rigging anything like this, rigging from trees is not recommended because you all know that one branch there always seems to fall. Some people like to pick that one that's sticking out there, and that probably is the weak guy. But if you ever want to rig, always have a mechanical engineer, or excuse me, a structural engineer, come and take a look to see if you actually have the supporting structure above. A lot of people say, oh, I've got some really good beams in the house. Yeah, but we also live in an area that gets snow, and so when you got weight load coming this way, and now you're pulling from underneath, that's not going to do well for your ceiling, your roof structure. Sorry, I'm a science geek. I used to work at NASA. I'm so sorry. I geeked out.
So wait a minute. Are you also a rocket scientist?
I am actually a biologist.
Okay.
But I was a lab rat, and when we lived down in New Mexico, at the time I was teaching at New Mexico State University, I was teaching microbiology. This job came up to work at WSTF, which is White Sands Testing Facility for NASA. And because I was a lab rat and understood all the instrumentation that they used to test the hardware for the space program, I slid on in. And I got to work on STS-125, which was the last mission to Hubble. That was, what was happening was the shuttle was sitting down on the launch pad, and NASA needed a part that was basically faulting. It was a little hydrogen flow control valve, about that big. But all eyes were on STS-125 because that was the last mission to Hubble. And so we worked on a really heavy schedule testing this hardware as it was coming out of the manufacturing before NASA would actually purchase it.
I actually remember that.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah. That's so cool that you're a rocket scientist.
It's been, there are some people out there that will say, oh, military lifestyle is really, really hard. And the thing about it, for at least for me, is it has made me adaptable with my skills and my experiences. I've had an eclectic, amazing, fun ride. I'm a biologist. I never would have thought in 1,000 years I'd ever be working on anything for space. And so to do that was incredible. And then, we moved to Fort Leonard Wood, and there I started instructing soldiers. And then, of course, a trip to England, and now I'm enjoying this, my semi-retirement. I'm enjoying doing this. So I probably am a poster child for the military lifestyle just because I figured it out, how you have to sell yourself and look at your qualifications when you're putting your resumes together to say, well, yes, I can do that, and I can do that, and that can be done. So that's how you do that as a biologist.
That's and actually as women, I think that's a really important thing to notice because we tend to downplay our skills. So thank you for mentioning that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I've been playing with this because I'm a massage therapist. And I noticed that it stretches in one direction. It stretches wide. Okay, but it doesn't stretch long.
No, it does not.
Yeah.
So whenever we do drops, the one thing you have to realize, that wonderful equation of that involves gravity. Whenever we're dropping, forces are created. Your body actually gets heavier as you drop, and so you need to have that flexion to be able to absorb some of that shock or some of that force when you're coming down. So that's why you feel a little bit of bounce. If you had a piece of fabric that was so stiff, you would hit it, like a ton of bricks, and it would hurt. And you probably break a bone or injure, tear a muscle.
Don't want that.
No, not down at all.
No. Cool. So how can people see you? I mean, do you have YouTube videos on?
Right now I just have my Facebook, and I haven't started uploading the YouTube videos as of yet. I've been crazy busy. Yeah, I think I'd probably start, it's about time that I start doing that.
So you just moved here,
Yeah.
just like a couple months ago.
Yep.
And now your daughter's just moved here.
Yes, my
Who's going to
oldest.
have a baby.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yes, you're a busy lady. So, but you were on the news, you were on DC, because you just did a show.
Yeah, we just did a show, Narc in Flight in DC. We did a show June 3rd, and it was our showcase. And then the following Tuesday, we were on Good Morning DC.
Okay.
And that was a whole lot of fun to show yet another person. I love doing it. I love showing people what it feels like to go upside down. Because the first time you do it, I promise you'll make that sound that you hadn't heard yourself make in years. You're like, what? You know? And you feel great though. It feels amazing. And all of a sudden you do. You remember the little girl that you were. You absolutely remember that little girl at that playground. The one who probably almost dared your other friend, go upside down on the swing. You remember that person, and that is, it's free. It's absolutely, it sounds probably cliche for me to say that, but it is, it's an amazing feeling.
So is that on your Facebook page? So it's your personal Facebook page?
It is my personal Facebook page.
Okay, and people can access it by looking at the event.
You can search me out on Facebook, yeah.
Okay,
Some of
good.
that stuff is absolutely able to, I think I have a lot of that to the friends of friends in public, so.
Okay, great. So people can see. Now, do you have any of your performances or like little snippets of your performances?
I have my oldest daughter. We had our professional videos done, but my oldest daughter managed to sneak her phone in and get the bootleg video of my last performance. I'm still waiting for that video to come back from that particular performance. But it was kind of funny. I kind of giggled because she bootlegged it, and of course my character for this last performance, I was a flapper, and I thought, oh, that's appropriate. so yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long after you started taking classes till you got to the point that you said, wow, I can really do this, I can turn upside down, I can,
I'm not there yet, believe it or not. I seriously, I don't. I look at some of the professionals that are absolutely in this field, and they're absolutely amazing. What they can do with the human body is just stunning. I mean, it just blows me away. I was very flattered when I was asked to become an instructor. I think it's because I was instructing soldiers for so many years that I could explain things really well so that people could get it. I think that's maybe why they snatched me to do that. Yeah, no, never. I don't think, I'm still like every time I have a hashtag goals list, I keep adding to it, and if I remove one off the top, I realize I've added 4 or 5 on the bottom. So yeah, I'll let you know if I get there.
So I find it interesting because when you first started talking and said what you did,
Yeah.
my very first thoughts that went through my head were, I could never do that. Number
Yep.
one, I
Yep.
have a fear of heights.
Yeah.
Okay, and number two, I have history of vertigo.
Yeah.
So, and then when she starts talking about the spinning and stuff, I was like, but I'm glad that you answered all that. So if you ever do instruct in front row, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Because I'd love to try it.
Right now I've got a little house studio, but it's only 11 feet, so I can get someone upside down. I can't get you to climb very high, which is okay when you have a fear of heights
Right.
at first.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah, right. It's easy. But yeah, thank you. I will. Because you can, it's amazing when you really want to do something, how, I can't tell you how many times I was first learning to do the bigger drops, and I'm all the way up 18 feet. And I'm, my hands, one hand is here, one hand is here behind me. And I'm looking down at this floor, and my friends are all on the floor going, you can do it, Susan, do it. And I'm hanging there. So I've been there. I've absolutely been there and frozen.
What I kind of gathered from this entire interview, the biggest thing is the accomplishment of doing something that,
Yeah.
like, achieving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what I think is what I kind of gotten out of the whole thing. It's not just hanging upside down, and it's about achieving.
It's when you think you're done, or you
Yeah.
think of it that you can't do something.
And that makes me
Not-
want to hang upside down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Susan, when you were instructing soldiers,
Yes.
were you doing this for exercise or yoga?
I wasn't doing this
or
at
was
all.
This,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was wondering if you were doing applications of this for military purposes. Climbing or parachuting or something.
Yeah, no, actually I was the most anti-physical person when I was instructing soldiers. I was actually instructing soldiers in biochem weapons, which is way off in left field. The cool thing that I thoroughly enjoyed about instructing the soldiers was I actually met a bunch of soldiers who weren't particularly, or they had it in their heads that they weren't very good at science. And that was the one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed with them was, I'll help you wrap your head around this. And so I thoroughly enjoyed instructing the soldiers there because all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, I get this, And so that's what I used to teach the soldiers, was pretty much getting to teach them the science, but in their application.
We all need a little of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we talk saying what you were saying, I think we talk ourselves into things, like that voice that you talk yourself into something and then you accept it, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you go, wait a minute, I can do that. So, yeah. You're welcome.
All right, well, it's about time to wrap up, but thank you so much. It's been great to have you, and I'm sure there are lots of questions, but people can contact you, or they can post on the Facebook page and ask questions as well.
That'd be wonderful. That would be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. 11 feet sounds fine.
11 feet?
Yeah. I'll be over.
I love it.
Oh. So, I did want to say that next month, and I think
I'll grab that
little microphone. Next month, we will have Suzanne Skurlock-Durana. Suzanne Skurlock-Durana, who is a world-renowned body worker and developer of a curriculum called Healing from the Core that really teaches people to connect with their body in a really profound and very useful way. And it just so happens that today, the book that she has, her second book, has been published as of today. It's called Reclaiming Your Body, and it is on Amazon, and they're hoping to have a big rush today. So if you're interested in finding out what kind of wisdom your body has to share with you, I suggest you go on Amazon and try Reclaiming Your Body by Suzanne Skurlock-Durana. And I know that we have some other announcements, and so I'll let Barbara take it away.
Yes, well, I want to first of all thank Tammy Carlisle here, who is becoming our dessert sponsor, and we can tell you absolutely that they're pretty incredible. So I'm going to show you just how beautiful these cookies are. So this is what she does. She does them for events, and she's also starting which is gluten, sugar, and grain-free. And she has a fabulous dessert over there. So, she's exploring really healthy, wonderful things. So, and so she's here tonight, and she's going to be here at our which is our Women in Networking Luncheon, which is not this coming Wednesday, but the next one after it. It's always the fourth Wednesday of every month, and we've got Beth Iden coming, and she's going to talk about her Liberian project. So hopefully you'll all be here. It's 11:30 to 1. And I guess I just have to thank everybody for coming. We are the Front Royal Women's Resource Center. We are here supporting women in our community through programs, information, and education. We give grants to women in the community. And I also want to, since Beth Waller is here, I want to thank her and Jen Avery. Jen is behind the camera. And, this is their space. As you can see on the wall, What Matters. That is their company that they are creating. And it's a pretty amazing thing they're creating. So thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, Beth and Jen. Thank you, Jen, for doing another great video, Jen. All right.
I want to finish it with the video up on the screen.
Oh, good idea.
And, yeah.
Yeah. You did it, Beth Waller. Good job.
She did it.
You want me to play from the beginning?
Yes, please.
That was a great interview.
Oh, that was so sweet.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.